everyone. Thanks for joining us for another edition of AgileTakes. We take a few minutes to talk about some of the really hot topics in cybersecurity, and more importantly, what people are seeing globally, not just in a certain sector or certain industry, but what we're seeing globally right now. And we've come into 2022, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by a friend and partner in the Middle East, in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates, the president of Electronic Design Group, Paul Risick. Paul, thanks for joining us today. It's great to see you.
Yeah, morning, Tony. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Paul, new year, we're kick off Q1. January's in the books. I can't believe it's already in the books. And we're seeing already how cybersecurity is becoming a hot topic. More vulnerabilities, more companies, unfortunately, being hacked and being breached for data. When you're talking to your customers, especially you who aren't just in one country, but really spread around a number of countries, it's interesting to hear what you're talking to your customers about an improved security strategy. So when you're talking to your customers, what are some things you're talking to them about? What are some ways that businesses can reduce cyber risk so they can stay out of being one of these people that are in the news?
Yeah, sure. So as you well know, Tony, we operate in multiple geographies, and Dubai obviously is one of the most advanced digital governments. But even though a couple of years ago, if you bring up the cybersecurity topic, it would still be rocket science to a lot of people. But now it's in the news every day. And then now they're reaching out and asking questions. And the easiest way we're obviously putting it for them, if you want to secure your house, you lock your door, you lock your window, you put an intrusion system, you have a dog in the backyard, you have a perimeter, you have a gate. It's the same thing. Your infrastructure is as valuable as your house. And for a business, data is the new oil. Data is the most precious part of your business. So now they understand the importance of adopting strategies and not taking this for granted anymore, especially that everyone's name is now is at risk to be the next one in the big news. So we're talking to them about obviously securing their current infrastructure, and then we're going to have to walk them through the entire process, as you well know.
Yeah. Paul, it's a great point you bring up. Data is the new oil. It is company. I don't care what industry you're in. It's the intellectual property, right? These days, because not only does it make our business go, it keeps our customers happy, but that's what's valuable to the hackers. In your part of the world. So when you look at the Middle East, when you look at the GCC countries, are you seeing increased pressure in any one industry, or is it kind of happening across the board, happening in the cloud? I mean, talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing in your neck of the woods.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, cloud migration is becoming obviously a trend recently. Again, a few years ago, they used to be scared. They used to think that the data is going to go and reside somewhere and someone's going to come and steal it. But now with folks like Amazon, Microsoft and stuff doing a lot of coaching and education for the market and then building up their data center locally, a lot of the clients, mainly government clients and large corporations, are actually doing cloud migration. You add a little bit of COVID and remote workforce to that, then you have a lot of data traveling across the network daily. So the risk is obviously tremendous, and it's Disneyland for the hackers nowadays. So people here are listening, they're paying a lot of attention. We see people now allocating budget for these kind of things. Obviously, IT was all about buying computers and printers and cables. Now there's a budget allocated for cyber and stuff. So as I said, it's going to be a educational journey with our clients here, but they're catching up quick, and then we are seeing a lot of interest in the market.
Absolutely. And what's interesting, you say, since COVID, if one thing COVID pushed is remote work, which, in a lot of countries, in a lot of industries, it's already been a trend. In some industries, it's a new trend, but we've seen a lot of pressure on the endpoint, because a business now isn't just securing their central stuff, their servers, their infrastructure. Now they got to secure almost everybody's homes in a way. Now they don't have to secure the homes, but that's where the endpoints are. So when you're talking to your customers, how are you talking to them about resiliency and business continuity and those types of steps, whether they're breached or not? I mean, obviously, if they're breached, they need to be have a business continuity plan, a resiliency plan. But how about some of your customers that are also in, you know, I think very touchy industries? It could be banking, healthcare, it could be oil, it could be government. How do they stay resilient, and how do they keep that moving?
Great question, Tony. Actually, compliance is coming also this way of the word. So we see, of course, depends on the verticals. You know, healthcare has always been compliant with HIPAA. You look at the retail; they have the PCI compliance. So the multinational or the international players always been following some kind of a compliance. Now this is coming obviously to the local markets, and they're looking into obviously meeting these requirements and compliance requirements. Now, we also have been coaching them about the importance of having DR sites. Depends on the criticality of the informations that they hold. The UAE recently also launched a Personal Data Protection Act, which obviously put a lot of pressure on companies to protect the personal data and any kind of data that obviously resides on their infrastructure. So more and more of these government moves is actually creating more awareness in the marketplace and compliance from other sides. But the way we coach our clients is the same way we've been doing it for years. They have to have a crisis management plan. You don't wait for the whole thing to collapse to figure out what you're going to do. You have to have clear SOPs. Your human factor have to be beneficial rather than causing more chaos. So training is important. You know, policies in place are important. Multiple factor authentications are obviously important because that will minimize the risk, and the complete DR site in a different geography or on the cloud is recommended. So we help them put all these policies in place. We help them train their staff. We help them obviously put together business continuity, as you said, which is obviously crucial, because the last thing that the business want to do is just go out of business. When their
Absolutely.
system is down, and obviously the way technology now is driving the industries, without any systems up and running, you obviously cannot do much these days.
Absolutely. Paul, you bring up really good points with ongoing training, right? Teaching people what to click and what not, because that's where the problems, start. MFA, that is a tremendous point. Do you know it's still less than 10% of the world is utilizing MFA? Less than 10. It's
Oh yeah.
crazy to me when MFA can solve a lot of issues. It's not the end all be all, but it can help solve a lot of issues. But there's an inconvenience there, and I guess people don't want to be inconvenienced. And the third thing, the number one way people got hacked in Q4, over 63%, this is according to IDC, was third parties, right? So you might be secure, you might not be the target of a hack, but they got in through a weak link, one of your third parties, one of their counterparties, and got in that way. That's why we recently in our platform added the ability to measure not just our customers' external risk, cyber risk, but also their most prized vendors, their most prized third parties, because they could be the weakest link. So, Paul, that was a great point. So as we wrap up this quick Agile takes, any final points from you and what you're seeing?
Yeah, actually, I mean, a couple of words. A lot of people hearing about zero trust. This is something that governments start enforcing, and now they're encouraging large organizations globally to do it. It helps to a large extent. Again, unless it's engineered right, it's got the limitation and the downside. So there's a lot of risk that comes within the circle. So just securing the perimeter alone is not enough. So we go back to the training point. We go back to the MFA points. And another thing that, of course, is challenging when you're introducing a very strict zero trust is the user experience. A lot of restrictions, a lot of procedures, a lot of process could at one point obviously kill some efficiency and productivity of the user. So it's a fine balance. It's a risk-based approach rather than shut down all doors and just run for your life. It's always a consultancy approach. And that's what we're here for.
Love it, Paul. This has been a great addition. This has been awesome information, very helpful. And, it's great to hear coming from your side of the world, what's happening, what you're seeing. And you know what the funny thing is? It's the same thing people are seeing in North America, South America, Asia. We're all in the same boat, seeing the same thing. So for more information on Electronic Design Group and Paul's great company and how they're working with their customers, visit them at ed.ae. And then you can also visit agileblue.com and we can connect you with Paul as well. Paul, thanks so much for your time. Have a great day. This was a great episode. Appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure. Thanks a lot, Tony. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.